kills early on.
From what I was seeing just from like beta gameplay and stuff like that, I unfortunately haven't been able to check out some of the preliminary matches that we had with the first 2 weeks of launch, but it seemed like remaining mobile tended to be the general good way to play and the best way to stay alive. You slowed down or ended up like kind of locking yourself into a corner, it would go pretty bad for you. But guys, here we go. This is it. The opening match, the first time we're showing it here on the VRL broadcast. It's Space Junkies. So welcome to the match.
And so already you'll see them start to glide their way around, and they're just going to be looking as they're picking up as many extra boosts they can here. Now, it's just waiting to see who's going to make the first mistake, who's going to make the first moves. And communication here is going to be so important because they're both going to need to spring on together.
Both teams kind of taking their time with it. It looks like Mac, however, is going to push himself into the open relatively soon here, leaving himself exposed and very quickly leaving himself as the first player to go down as he stays into the open too long. Madman's going to be his teammate. They're might going to try to stagger the spawn out here, but they already get some good damage onto him, forcing him back into a corner, and down he goes. It's already 2 kills for m4cman and Dermanello, that as they start off with a clean team wipe at the beginning of the match.
Living up to their name as the Reapers, but can they keep it going? Opts to change up the weapons, so he's going to find himself, and this is going to be an interesting one. So he can do some real burst fire damage here to come out. We've got Madman pinned down at the moment. He's only had deaths, and he's going to add another one to that. It's fragging all the way here for the Reapers as they pick up their third. And this is just a strong opening performance, but finally, m4cman, they do get 1 kill on the board.
They're able to trade out 1, but they've got a lot more work to do if they want to build upon that. Meanwhile, in the arena, of course, our German roster is going to have an opportunity to go around the map, find ways to re-up their armor. You can see Manello here working with the LMG, just try and spray from a distance right now, and so far that plan has been working. His opponent, Madman, gets caught right in the center of the map. He tries to work with a slingshot to trade out a kill, but at the moment, it's just too much control for the Reapers on this map, and unfortunately, their opponents, the m4cman, have not been able to compensate for that as of yet.
And even with the distance that the Reapers are having between each other, they're so quick as soon as the fires start that to be able to come in and back each other up. Instantly, you see this going down. And m4cman, he's really struggling to hold on to this. He'll go down once again, and 7-1 already. The Reapers looking so keen, but a lot of damage coming out to Axis. Tries to get himself healed back up, gets a nice boost to it. He's got his teammate coming in from behind him. Mac, he's under pressure, he's going to go in for it.
Might not end up working out though, he backs away, switches over, I believe, to the machine pistols in order to get the job done. Instead, m4cman will take out his other teammate, and that's going to be 2 more frags going up on the board here for the Reapers as they lead 9-1 over their opponents.
And you can see, right, the chemistry these two players have, this the communication that it's coming down to here, and ensuring that they've got a good advantage position no matter where they're going. And if you look, you saw him before, I think it was one of the Reapers players, was picking up the armor pieces. In traditional games that we've seen before, you pick up 1 piece of armor, it gives you the full boost. Here you have to pick up little points, sections of it each time. So you need to try and kind of gate them all together so that you can really get yourself the full boost of armor that you need.
m4cman getting a nice shot there off onto Mac to take him down. Meanwhile, Dermanello and his teammate, once again, just going to have the free time to go for pickups, as unfortunately, m4cman haven't been able to put too much of a challenge yet. It comes down to that map control. The other problem here for the m4cman as well is they're engaging separately, I'm noticing, coming off of spawn. You're only sending, 1 player at 2, and especially with the low TTK that we're seeing, because just the pure focus that's coming out from the Reapers overall right now, they're just getting melted time after time again, especially with the high damage from this weapon that's coming in right now. Not from Axis, but his teammate there, Manello.
And even with the damage being done, right, you see what happens. He's able to back away, and they're able to kind of work together and make sure they've always in an advantageous 1v2 position. The good thing here for the Reapers is they've been able to have not just weapon control, but all the armor as well.
Oh, there we go. That's going to be a max score reach for our red squad, and that is the Reapers as they take single-handed domination in map number 1 of the series.
15-1. That's the way you get it done. That's the way you make a big statement early on here. Very confident plays. It was nice to see them actually just being able to kind of frag out, but also play very smart as well. You saw him. He went at one point to go pick up the armor, go down into the cave, and decided, oh, okay, like you said, that guy's going to chase me down. I don't want to put myself in a position where I can't be helped out here. And they were always just being able to play it in the smart 2v1 style.
Yeah, overall, they're around the arena for so long. They have all the weapons that they want to play with there. We were seeing usage of the railgun-like weapon, which he was able to use pretty well to be able to take down. Basically, it was the 2 of them using that same exact weapon to just scope players down from range every single time they were coming out of spawn. And the problem for the m4cman was it was taking them so long to regroup. By the time one player got out and the second one was joining him, the first player was pretty much already dead by the time his teammate had joined the arena. So it was really good staggering kills coming out from the Reapers, just making sure their opponents had basically no chance of responding responding to it, and they're going to have to adjust quickly. Otherwise, we could be looking at a quick map 2 and a quick series overall here.
And that's it, right? It's a best of 3, which means they need to be able to find a way to reply. They cannot allow the Reapers to have all that control, and that's what it was, right? They had not just the map control, but weapons in their favor, all the armor they wanted to play with there. And one thing we didn't talk about yet is when you guys may have been watching, you see that they actually look very different, right, in terms of appearance. That's one of the awesome features of Space Junkies. Yeah. There's a lot of customization that comes with it, so you can really show off your own individual style in-game on your characters as well.
Ranges from like Space Marine to just straight up Alien in some circumstances.
Yes.
So you got a lot of options there, folks. It's one of the, I think it's definitely one of the cooler parts of the game, to be sure.
The Reapers have horns on their heads, which makes perfect sense for what they've just been able to do there, right? They're living up to the team name, so to speak. Now, we will be getting into their second game very soon. And I'm thinking for Madman and Mac, they've really got some serious work to do here. Now, it is going to be very difficult, right? Because you don't have any idea of how this is going to play out, especially in your opening pro games you've got here. But I think for some of these players and how they work, it's like, okay, what are some of these other teams doing that we're not being able to do here? How do we get some control back? Maybe we wait for each other rather than going out solo on multiple occasions. Because how many times we just see one get picked off? It was just a constant cycle. It was a rotation the whole time.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I think players are going to have to catch on to is, especially if you have multiple opponents focusing on you, it's very easy to just get melted in less than a second. If you're in the open and you're not moving at a high speed, you could be a dead man just without even realizing, in the blink of an eye, quite literally, as we saw multiple times in that first map.
And this is the thing as well. The speed control of this game is so key because you can use, obviously, your sticks and you can make sure, okay, we're going to go for a very hard left, for example. You can do the up and down, but also you're doing, if you opt for it, using your head as the movement motion. So there is positions here where you literally could be going full pelt and you need to stay on top of it as well as what's going on around you and what you're hearing every step of the way. So it makes it for a very, not to say difficult to play, but a very difficult to master when it comes down to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, like we said before, we do have the players kind of in the waiting room right now. They're just loading up and I think getting their final checks in, more than likely just kind of waiting for players to load into the map. And then once they all have joined, I believe it's going to be just a few more seconds away from us starting the map and getting started. Speaking of which, well, never mind, actually, the pregame lobby got canceled as it looks like someone disconnected. So it's going to be a few more seconds, guys. We do apologize for that.
Hey, that's one of those things that just has to be dealt with. We're early on with it. We want to make sure everyone's happy, everything's ready and put into play. Now, an interesting thing that we saw there for the Reapers as well, it wasn't just them fragging out completely as well. There's a lot of assists coming into it. And I like that we can see the assist function already come into the game because that's very important because you can go, oh, look at this guy. He's the guy cleaning up. He's getting all the kills. But it's a team game, right? They're both playing it. They're both trying to make it happen. And one could do a lot of damage, but not actually pick up the final frag of it. So we're giving some credit where it's due across the board here.
Yeah. And you notice as well that they weren't necessarily staying directly on top of each other and moving together as a unit. They were really smart with the way they went about their map control, trying to kind of hold on opposite ends of the arena, but not so far opposite of each other that they wouldn't be able to trade if one ended up going down. So they were, again, map control is definitely going to be a key part of this, especially if a lot of the other maps that we'll end up with here in the series are going to be as small as the first one we saw there. It seemed like that first map was relatively contained to the one giant area in the middle, and the Macmen were never really able to maneuver out of there, so they were constantly just walking into a kill box every time they spawn, and without spawning together, they just were running into a very, very, very melted situation that they'd find themselves in.
And that's one of the things, right? Even though where we talk about the speed of this game and how it can work out, where you've got some of these smaller maps, you can find yourself going almost too fast and crashing into things and not being able to maneuver yourself ever so well. And movement is so key in a game like this. You cannot be able to you can't sit there, take a break and go, all right, where am I going to go next? You need to be thinking 1 or 2 steps ahead every single time.
And just keep yourself moving, make sure you're not, like we said before, running into any walls or anything like that and stop your momentum completely, which will just line you up for a quick spray from a machine pistol or another weapon, which I'm sure would be able to take you out pretty easily at 0 velocity. So once again, guys, we are in the lobby right now. We're just waiting for a few more of our players or one more of our players to reconnect. It looks like he has having a little bit of an issue joining up in the lobby, and then that's all that's separating us from the start of game number 2. It's not all the action we're going to have today, of course. We'll have 2 more matches after this one here on the European side of Space Junkies. Following that, of course, we're also going to be showing Echo Arena today, and we've got another special guest that'll be joining us to help cast. So that VR jersey is waiting right over in the next room right now. It'll be helping me out a little bit later on as we show both the European and the North American action for that. And of course, on top of all that, we still have some more North American Space Junkies that will be showing off in our 3rd segment of the day too.
And that's what I'm interested to see, right? Because we're seeing the Europeans now. We get a bit of information early on here to understand how they're playing. But what are going to be some of the key differences we see between the North American players and the European? Are there maybe different preferences in how the play style is? Is it different weapon choices coming in? Because every region seems to have a position where they can have their own little meta as they try to work the game out at the beginning.
Well, guys, we've got all our players in the lobby now, getting them all just ready up. We're just doing the quick little map select here, and then I think, fingers crossed, think we're going to be good to start the map off here. So we'll have to see if the m4cman can make their comeback happen, if they can hold better positioning this time, or just get their best foot forward and be able to establish that superior positioning from the get-go over the Reapers, who did it to them in the last round. Unfortunately, never really gave them a shot at redemption at any point in the map.
Yeah, I think for the m4cman as well, for them, it's like, okay, if we can get off with the first kill and then get some control, because I just felt like they didn't ever have a chance to get back into it. Once they went down the first couple of kills, it was like, all right, now we're just spiraling and we don't really seem to be able to regain any control at all. And that's what it's all about, right? Trying to find that position that you're getting a little sweet spot to see in. But we're going into the game. This will be our second. The Reapers are 1-0 up. They won very convincingly, 15-1 to start off. And let's see what they can do this time around. m4cman already needing to be a little bit cautious there. He's got both the players on his hands and he's going to need his teammate to back him up very quickly. Lots of damage being done. You see him puts up the shield and actually he walks away with the first. So we're going to be on a 1-1 straight off the bat. They're going to be able to try and hold on to this, but he needs to keep backing away.
m4cman is able to grab the shot, getting a little bit of work done, but m4cman moves in to find the trade on him, and just like that, we see the Reapers taking control of the lead, push themselves back into the advantage. Only by 1 kill this time, though, and obviously they don't have anywhere near the amount of controls we saw previously. A lot more room to work with on this map as well here, but they have chosen the same strategy, going for the biggest central point on the map, looking to hold control from here and just slowly scout out their opponents.
How smart is this, right? The moment they had a little bit of chance, when there was a small breather, they went straight for the gold armor pickups, giving themselves that little bit of extra protection they can try and work with here. But instantly, Axis Monday comes in again, and now the Reapers with a 3-1 lead, and this is where they start to try and build this dominance. m4cman's trying to hide away, but he's instantly going to be taken down, and the Reapers, they are unrelenting.
Nicely done there by m4cman, just getting up close and personal with the dual-wielded machine pistols. It's got a pretty drastic damage fall-off as you get in range with it, but if you can get very close to a player, you can absolutely melt them down in just half a second or so here if they're not prepared for the fight coming their way. Speaking of which, we have the same situation happening. Both of the m4cman once again get wiped off the battlefield, and the Reapers take another clean wipe of their opponents.
And both of the Reapers have gold armor starting to be stacked up here. They've got full weapon control once again. And m4cman, they're just struggling to really get into it. Now, Max got himself some gold armor to work with, but he's going to be instantly melted down there. They were both on top of him. And it's the teamwork that's coming out from the Reapers once again, because m4cman, he was not even close to being in a position to help out there.
It's proving so quintessential to allow these guys to stay in such an advantageous position. You can see m4cman, they've caught on to their problem from the last game that they were just moving out on their own. So they are holding back, waiting for both players to spawn. So that at least is slowing the kind of ascension in the scoreboard here for the Reapers, but they're still far too separate and just getting jumped on here without them even realizing it by the Reapers. It's the verticality and, I mean, even more than that now that we're in VR here. Now the general just situational awareness here, it seems, for the m4cman that's constantly taking them out as the Reapers are so on point with ganking these players.
And nothing's really changed here, despite this map being a fair amount more open. We've got a lot more space to work with here. But even then, the Reapers, they're just on top of it all. They're not changing up their style. They're sticking together, having a little bit of decence, picking up what the weapons they want here, going and make sure they're getting the armor on the timings and working it out successfully. But they're just stretching their legs once again, 11-1. And m4cman, they need to turn this around really quick.
They're staying on top of the respawns here for the Ricochet too, which is definitely seeming to be a preferential weapon for them here. A pistol that can kind of bounce its shots off a lot of the walls, so I feel like he can do a lot of damage on the players. m4cman, though, finally strikes revenge. He's able to move in. The problem is it's not long before Axis Mund also moves forward, trading out both of those, still leaving the m4cman with only 2 kills overall and 11 behind their opponents at 13.
And look how much gold armor Monday's been able to get here. Straight away, he's going in for the extra kills and doing so much more damage here. He gets both of them and goes in for a 15-1 once again, or 15-2 make that. So they improved just a little bit on it, but overall, the Reapers proved to be the better team here straight out.